Welcome back. We want to talk about the 270 degrees spatial angle. But now let's consider our diagram again. So here is y, here is x, here is r, here is the point P, and then here is x. But when we talk about 270 degrees, it lies exactly on this point, on the negative y-axis. And so, when it lies here, it means that this line matches the y-axis. And therefore, the point x, the distance x is now compressed and it is now equals to 0. So now, in terms of 270 degrees, x is equals to 0. But now x squared, r is equals to the square root of x squared plus y squared. So y is negative, so minus y squared plus x squared, and this is equals to 0 square. The square of 0 is always equals to 0, but this is equals to the square root of y square, and that is equals to y because I squared first before taking the square root, and so r is a positive distance. Now let's look at the sine 270 degrees, but you see the sine, the angle in question is lying, the terminal point is lying on the negative y-axis. So whenever we talk about y, it is negative, other than the radius. When talk about the value of y is always negative, other than the radius, please. Now, students should always take note that in 270 degrees, y is always negative, just like when we were dealing with the 180 degrees. So x is always negative now, so y is always negative here. So x is equals to 0, so it doesn't matter whether positive or negative. 0 is still 0, is a non-negative integer. Whether you attach negative to positive or positive to it, it does not change any meaning. 0 is the same thing as 0. Now, so sine will be equals to opposite over hypotenuse. This is y over r. But the y we are talking about here is negative, so it's equals to negative y over r. But r is the same thing as y in this setting, so minus y over y. And that's equals to minus 1. Now we go to cos. Cos 270 degrees will be equals to adjacent over hypotenuse, and that's equals to x over r. But x is equals to 0, and so 0 over y, and the answer is equals to 0. Now we go to tan. Tan 270 degrees is equals to, is opposite over adjacent. One can always remember the acronym. So opposite over adjacent, and opposite is x, and the opposite is y, and the adjacent is x. So y is negative here over x, but x is equals to 0. So we have negative y over 0, and that is equals to negative infinity. Now, the other three trigonometrical functions that can be generated from these first three, so are cosine, cosec 270 degrees, and this is equals to just the inverse, so y over minus y, and that's equals to minus 1 is the same. So now the sec 270 degrees is the same thing as saying sec, so this is y over 0, and that's equals to undefined. Now the cot 270 degrees, so this is equals to 0 over negative y, and that's equals to 0. Now we look at 360 degrees finally, spatial angle 360 degrees. And when we are in 360 degrees, this is our line. It's similar to that of 0 because the point P is lying somewhere here on the x-axis. And when it lies on the x-axis, it means this line will rotate, and still come back here. And so when the point is lying here, the height is always 0, and so the y-axis has always been compressed, will always be compressed to 0. So y is equals to 0. And remember, r is equals to the square root of x squared plus y squared. But here, x is positive. We have to take note that x is positive, and that is equals to the square root of 0 square plus x square, and that's equals to x. So r is equals to x. And so we're going to have sine 360. This is equals to opposite over hypotenuse, and the opposite is y over, so we have y over hypotenuse r, and that's equals to y, but y is equals to 0, so 0 over x, and the answer is equals to 0. We have the cos 360 degrees, but cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, so x over hypotenuse r, so this is equals to x over r. But what is r? R is the same thing as x, so we have x over x, and the answer is equals to 1. Now we will look at the tan 360 degrees, and this is equals to, you can use the sine over cosine, because tan is the same thing as saying tan 360 degrees, so sorry, sine 360 degrees over cos 360 degrees. And that's, what's the cosine here is 0 over what? 1, and the answer is 0. Or you simply use the ratio opposite over adjacent. It means, what is your opposite? Opposite over adjacent, so it means y over x. So this is equals to, but y is equals to 0 over x, and the answer is equals to 0. So we see it is similar, whether you use the first two and generate the tan, or you just use the trigonometrical ratio, use the acronym. Now, instead of stopping here, we are going to find the other 3 trigonometrical functions remaining, but from the first 3 also. So we are going to look at cosec 360 degrees, and this is equals to x over 0, and that's equals to infinity, which is and then we're going to look at sec 360 degrees, but this is equals to x over x, and that's equals to 1. And then we're going to look at tan. The tan is gotten x over 0, so cot, it means cot is going to be, cot 360 degrees is going to be equals to x over 0, so x over 0, or we say 1 over 0, but because division by 0 is not defined, so this is positive infinity. These are the trigonometrical functions we are asked to find in the first and the second video. Thank you very much. We look forward for the special angles 45, 30, and 60 degrees.